what can I help you with today?
Hey man, I'm wondering how I can make this a little more weedless so I can get through some really heavy cover.
Yeah, in fact, Joe Bucher just put a video out on that as far as getting those baits through the slop and the weeds.
Where do you find the video?
Yeah, check it out on our YouTube channel.
We're in the Musky component section at the Musky shop. Man, I could just stay here all day. It's awesome, isn't it? Look at all this stuff. What we're going to do today is kind of fun. Here is a production model 800 twin tinsel Bucher tail, and you know it's all good. And this is you could fish this just the way it is and catch all kinds of fish and not have any worries or complaints. But what I'm going to show you here today, this is stuff that you only get this kind of stuff at the Musky shop. It's the only place you're going to get this. We're going to take this bait and make it special so it runs through cover better, through weed cover better. I don't like the upper treble on any lure when I'm fishing in cover. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of that upper treble. All you got to do is just take it off. Split ring down, just take it off. So that's the first thing I did on this bait. And I'm showing you the bait that I actually caught the biggest muskie in 2018 on my show, the fish we that Chaz Martin nicknamed Monstro. You see, the first thing I did was I got rid of that treble hook there, and the reason for that is most of the weed problems you're going to have fishing over high weeds, grass, milfoil, cabbage, whatever, you're going to collect it on that treble hook. Okay, get rid of that treble hook and you eliminate most of your weed problems. Now you can make your bait even better than that by making the hook stationary. So we're going to take this treble hook. By the way, I'm using an oversized treble. You say I'm using an old Mustad here, which is one of my favorite old hooks to use. This old 3551 7/0. 7/0 is a dynamite hook on these big baits. And so I just put some. See, Musky Shop sells a shrink tube kit here. So we're going to slide the shrink tube on this big treble. And then we're going to fold this back, and we took the stock treble off. We took actually both trebles off, so this bait is naked, so to speak. And now we're going to put this treble on. And these are things that musky fishermen are endless tinkerers, and this is like one of the modifications that anybody can do. You can do it on the water. You can do it in your boat. Okay, so now all we got to do is slide the shrink wrap over the whole package here, over the split ring, and I'm just rotating. I'm doing a little roll like that so that everything forms real nice and flows real nice over it all. So I've got the wire loop, I've got the split ring, and I've got the loop of the treble hook itself all encased in the tubing. My goal here is to make this hook stationary so it doesn't flap. And the reason I want to do it, let me push this over so I can show you. The reason I'm doing this is so that it runs through weeds better. I'll just walk this off, and I want to eliminate this. Okay? When you're fishing against the wind especially, your treble hook, when it's loose like that, might walk up and catch in there. And some people like that loose treble because they think it hooks fish better, and I can't argue with that philosophy. But when you want it to really be stationary and foolproof, and so you never get that wrap, you add some shrink wrap here, some shrink tubing, and so we're right there. All we got to do to finish this up is put a little heat to it. In fact, I'm just going to anchor that right here, and hopefully this little Bic lighter's going to work real nice. I'm just going to put a little heat to it, and we should be good to go here. Let that. Okay, so now the hook stays like this. So now it'll never fold over your tinsel, your Flashaboo, whatever you're using, bucktail, and so it'll cast even against the wind. You got a big wind blowing here; it's not going to kick that treble hook up and over in foul in here. So you have basically 100% foolproof blade bait for casting, and even in rough conditions and wind. And because that hook is stationary and it's not tipping at all, it's going to go through cover better. And what's really cool about this too is now I've made this a big single hook treble hook bucktail, big single treble hook bucktail spinner, inline spinner, so that this thing will just go through cover. If you wind this hot, here's the last thing. And here's the modification, but here's how the one last thing is: when you cast this, synchronize your bait when you're fishing over the heavy cover, so that you are, if you're a right-hander and you're going to switch hands with your rod, get that hand switch while the bait's still in the air, so that when that bait hits the water, you are moving. That bait is moving, and then crank it hot to begin with to create a really good blade spin. And what happens when you create that really good blade spin, you create a force field of current over top of that and beyond those blades that it'll protect your treble hook, and you'll go right through the stuff. In fact, one last tip on that goes with this bait modification that I showed you is if you're watching your bait and you actually see the bait coming to a thick portion of weeds or a clump of cabbage or whatever, actually lower your rod a little bit and pick up your speed to create more force field. If you watch my show, a lot of times you'll see me do little things like that. I'll gun the bait just a little bit, and what that does is it creates more force field, so it walks, it'll just part the weeds and your bait will go right through it. But this is how you can make your bait. You can modify your blades so they go through cover, and you see how simple it is to use the shrink tubing, and you can get that at the Musky shop. How about that?